Wait. What? This way. Yes. No, yes. It's happening. It will happen. Pogokero with yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host. Here we go. Hi. Hello, I'm really here. Yeah, buddy. All right, I made it. Every time. Okay, hey, check it out. So here I am. I'm in my base, right? In my base, right? Looks pretty normal, right? Like, not much has changed. Right? But I have indeed been at work. I have been working. And not all changes are on the surface. Not all changes are visible immediately. Sometimes the work is done in a place you can't quite see. So here, let's look over here. Oh goodness. There's two little elevators here now. Brewing station. Indeed. Let's go check this out. Oh, whoa. Yes. Welcome to the newly revamped underground, under my base. This used to be the purview of Comrade Stewart, but he has been AFK for quite some time now. So I took it upon myself to modernize the underground. And what we have here is a potion brewing station based on the design from Nia Mature. And it's really cool. It's a pretty cool station. Like, you have here your primary potions. You know, you got your poison, your weakness. I don't have the ingredients for those two. Slow fall, regeneration, healing, strength, swiftness, water breathing, night vision, and fire resistance. So suppose we wanted to, like, I don't know, make a water breathing potion. You flick the lever, right? And then you come over here to the modifiers. And this is lingering, this is splash, this is increased time, and this is increased level. So since this is water breathing, we want to increase the time of water breathing. So we go like that. Okay, now before I do the magic, because then finally we would hit this button to start the brewing process, and then here's where it would all happen. But let's take a look at what works behind the scenes here, right? Come over here to the maintenance, click, and go behind. There's my elevator shaft down to the mine. Here's the brewing. Here's the on switch, right? And you'll notice it goes to a redstone torch, which is always lit. So this is always powered. This whole thing, this whole line down here. It goes to this repeater, which goes to this line, and goes along all these hoppers, or all these droppers. It's not going to power the hoppers, it's going to power the droppers. This redstone here is not going to power this, it's going to power this. I don't know why, but that's the way it works in Minecraft. Alright, so that goes all along the way. And each of these hoppers, and you'll note, on the other side, have a lit redstone torch on the back. So that's powering this dropper. So it's being powered from two different places, from the back by this line and from the front by this torch. I'm gonna turn this music down. Okay, but when I flip the lever, it unpowers the torch, but it is still powered by this redstone line. Okay, when I hit the start button, that's gonna depower this torch, which is gonna depower this whole line. But all these droppers will still be powered by their redstone torch here, except for the ones that I selected. These will be totally depowered, no power whatsoever, nowhere. But this power is only gonna flicker off just for a second, because the button presses and it depowers and then it repowers. So since this is the only one that's totally depowered, when it's repowered, it's gonna shoot up one item inside of it, and inside of this is sugar, and inside of this one, is water breathing. What? I have my things wrong. This is supposed to be water breathing. Carrot, fire, magma. Oh goodness. So this is water breathing. So 2 down, 1, 2. The second one down. One, 2. This is okay. Wow. Okay, let me fix this here. Alright, I had this slightly wrong. Oh, almost messed that up. There we go. Ha! Okay, that should work. Okay, this one's selected off. This one should shoot up one of its items up into this hopper line. It'll go poof inside. It goes up into it, right? And then now it's in here. And it'll go along this pipe, along the way. And this first hopper is nether wart. And this last one that's lit here should be redstone. Yep, okay. So they'll all come to this line and then they'll go into this brewing station. I added this the system to automatically empty and then restock the brewer. So here, let's look at this, how this works. Ready? Here we go. Like, we have water bottles there. We have a few stuff in there. Don't worry, I've been working on stuff. So we go, bop. Okay, like I need something to show that it's working. I don't know how I can do that, but it's working, you see. What I tried to do, oh, I can still do it. I need to take a reading of this hopper. And when that hopper is empty, then it needs to like turn off a light. That's easy. Oh no, I don't know if it's easy. I can put a slab up here and then a comparator on top of it, going into a block and then into a light here. Maybe, let's see. Well, it's brewing. You see what's going on? And then when it's done, I can't tell. I need to figure out a way to make it so I can tell. I would hit this. It empties the bottles and then restocks the bottles. Ah, ha, 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 ha. How beautiful. Night vision, fire resistance, water breathing. Okay, so I made a water breathing and a night vision potion. Because let's look at this other stuff that I made down here, right? This is cool. This is great, right? I like this. I like this a lot. It's pretty cool. I also extended it, but the problem is that my island is tiny. So I don't have hardly any space before I end up in the ocean, which is what happened over here. Like, here's the end of the ocean, and here's the ocean. Like, I had to, like, wall off the ocean so I could make this underground. I had to reclaim some space, basically. I went with the granite motif on the floor. I liked it, so I kept it going. And then I liked this structure that Comrade Stewart made, so I kept it. I kept the structure, that structure. And then the beacon, the way the beacon was set up, the way it was going, I had to do the other side, which was this structure. So now it's the yin and the yang, and it's kind of cool. I like it. I dig it. And the beacon goes to the middle of it. Yay! And then over here is the rest of Comrade Stewart's work. He was making a storage system here. Oh wow, he had a lot of iron. Oh, quartz. Oh man. Weapons, tools, armor. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down here. That must have took a long time to move everything. Ugh. But yeah. And then he was coming down here to work. But see, even he was constrained by the by how little space there is on this island. Look how much he ran into the ocean over here. Like, there's no space on this island. But yeah, I dig it. And then over here, come up over here. Over there is the rainbow sheep farm. So, like, yeah, I have very, very little space. And here's the pipe that all the things go up into the item storage system. Yep. Yeah, I tried to do a yin-yang. I guess I can, like... Yeah, it's alright. It's balanced. Oh yeah, and then I have this this airlock. It goes directly. Now look at the way that flying works. Is that if you were flying and you go in the ocean, it means you're still flying. So I can use rockets to move around under the ocean. Ow. And then fly like directly into the air. And I'm still flying under the water. It's fun. Okay, where did my base go? I got lost. It's over here. Ow. So that's fun. Like, it's an airlock. And like, I don't know, it's pretty neat. I can just like, la la la. So, I don't want to, and what kind of makes me sad is that they're gonna make an upgrade to the world, and I might have to like make a new world, and I don't want to because I put a lot of time into this world, and I'm sick and tired of remaking all my structures over and over again. Like, I get better at it every time, but still, like it's good enough. I don't need to do it again. Okay. All right, time to go in the mines. So what's going on? I need more coffee. There's been a whole bunch of stuff going on in Washington, D.C. And depending on what station you listen to, what channels you watch, you're going to hear two different stories. One story is that there's been this, big legislative struggle to get a COVID package together and passed through the Senate. But if you listen to this other channel, I guess they talk about Dr. Seuss. I don't know. Dr. Seuss wrote a couple books that were really, like, that were racist. And so his estate decided, hey, we don't want to print these books anymore because they're racist in it. And then I think Fox News is like saying like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Because, Fox News is Nazi. So they want racism. So they're really angry that the estate of Dr. Seuss has decided to stop printing racist books. Like Fox News is big mad about that. Another thing is music stop. Is today is the 56th anniversary of the Selma like a Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. This is like a big thing, right? Let me hide me. Pogokero, hidden Pogokero. There we go. All right. On March 7th, 1965, in Selma, Alabama, a 600-person civil rights demonstration ends in violence when marchers are attacked and beaten by white state troopers and sheriff's deputies. The day's events became known as Bloody Sunday. The demonstrators, led by civil rights activists John Lewis of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and Hosea Williams of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, were commemorating the recent fatal shooting of Jimmy Lee Jackson, a 26-year-old church deacon, by State Trooper James Bernard Fowler. The group planned to march the 54 miles from Selma to Montgomery, the state capital. Just as they crossed the Emmett Prentice Bridge outside Selma, they were ordered to disperse. Moments later, police assaulted them with tear gas, bullwhips, and billy clubs. Lewis, then 25, was one of 17 marchers hospitalized. Dozens more were treated for injuries. So this wasn't so basically it was like what's going on right now, right? The police murdered a black American for no reason. and the people were marching non-violently. And the police, because they're brutal, right? The police brutality, that's what the police do. The police came out to reimpose the white supremacy social order. And it was pretty brutal. Selma 1, Selma 2. So, here, let me move me out of the way here. Make me smaller. All right. So, they just caught, there's John Lewis. They just crossed the bridge. All they're doing is walking. They're just walking to the state capitol, 50-something miles away. That's all they're doing is just walking. They have no guns. They're not beating anything up. They're not breaking stuff. They're not blocking traffic. All they're doing is walking. And the government of Alabama sent in the agents of violence to attack them. So there's John Lewis, right? He's being polite. He's being kind. He's not saying anything bad to the police. He's not being harmful. He's not being mean. He's not being angry. He's being very, very polite. He's being very polite. John Lewis is very, very polite. And that's what they do. If you're polite, they will beat you. John Lewis and all the marchers were very, very polite, and they were almost murdered by the police. You can be as polite as you want, but the state will still fucking kill you. That's the state. They will kill you. All they were doing was politely marching, politely walking to the state capitol, and white supremacy, social order tried to kill them for it. All they were doing was walking, and the police came out to beat the crap out of them and almost kill them. All they were doing was walking. They were being very polite. And they get tear gassed. Look at that woman. She got knocked unconscious. It's still going on. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. John Lewis. 55 years ago today, we were beaten. This is in 2000. This is last year before he died. 55 years ago today, we were beaten, tear gassed, and trampled by horses. I thought I saw death. I thought I was going to die. I don't know how I made it back, but I know we cannot rest. We cannot become weary. We must keep pushing and pulling and find a way to get in the way. So that brings us to today. Joe Manchin is like the unofficial leader of the Democratic Party because he's the one, he has the veto power. He's the one most willing to work with the Nazis. He and Kirsten Sinema. They're the weakest links. They're the ones most willing to betray the country and work with Nazis. Because that's what Republicans are. Republicans are Nazis. They have zero interest in governing the country. They have zero interest in the welfare of the United States. They are all in it for themselves. The Nazis. They have their white supremacy, and that's all they care about. They want to turn this machine off. They want to turn this off, and they want all the money to go straight up again. Up. That's what they want. They want this. They want to knock out this one and this one and this one and put them all on top. They're Nazis. So Joe Manchin wants to involve the Nazis, right? He says, if you want to make it a little bit more painful, make him stand there and talk. I'm willing to look at it any way we can, but I'm not willing to take away the involvement of the Nazis. The Nazis must have their say, according to Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin insists the Nazis get to have their say in the way America conducts itself. Nazis must have their say. So, you know, right? The Nazis, the Confederates, they want to destroy our country. So we need to find the middle ground between saving the United States and destroying the country. Find the middle ground. Let's involve the Nazis. Let's bring them in. You know, maybe they're right. Maybe we need a little bit of destruction. Maybe we need to destroy America. Maybe we need a little bit of destruction. Maybe we can just, you know, maybe if we find a certain kind of people, we can sacrifice. Maybe we can have our little bit of destruction and our compromise. Man, that's bullshit. You cannot compromise with Nazis. You cannot do it. You cannot compromise with Nazis. You cannot negotiate with Nazis. Because Nazis are fundamentally opposed to the idea of the United States. They're fundamentally opposed. You cannot do it. Joe Manchin. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't see what I was talking about. So yeah, they want to find a middle ground, right? What if you found someone, found a group that you could sacrifice, you know? So if your middle ground is between saving America and destroying America, what if you got a little bit of destruction? What if you only sacrificed some certain group of people? Is that a good compromise? You can't compromise with Nazis. You can't do it. So Joe Manchin is pretty dumb. I'm pretty upset with Joe Manchin. Same thing with Kirsten Sinema. Kirsten Sinema, like, basically defrauded her voters. She said that she was all about raising the minimum wage, and when it came down to it, she said, no, I'm not about it anymore. So, again, Kirsten Sinema really wants to work with the Nazis. Both Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, they want to find a middle ground between saving the United States and destroying the United States. They want to listen to the ideas of the Nazis and incorporate them. Yeah, not yet, right? Dems win power. Moderate Dems refuse to let Dems use power. Dems lose power. Moderate Dems blame progressives for being too radical. Ad infinitum. Right. We saw it with the victory of Joe with the trifecta, right? Leading up to the Senate, they were condemning Black Lives Matter for being too radical. They were condemning the politicians who supported Black Lives Matters for being too radical. And yet, Black Lives Matter is what got the Democrats power. That's exactly what got Democrats power. Being radical. So moderate Dems who want to work with Nazis, sure they'll blame us for the failure, if for them blocking us. It's so dumb. See, things changed this morning. I gotta work this out. Here, okay. Here's the states that would be affected by a minimum wage increase of $15 an hour. So, in Arizona, about 1/5 of the workforce, 1/5 of the workforce would have been affected by this outcome in Arizona that Kristen Sinema refused to do. So she's from Arizona. Kristen Sinema refused to raise the minimum wage. So over here, remember, who makes the minimum wage? The lowest people down here. All right, 1/5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1/5 of the workforce would have been affected by raising the minimum wage by $15 an hour. Kirsten Sinema went up to these people here and said, "Hey, people." That's what she said. She's like, "Hi, you guys with nothing? Ha 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 ha. You people with nothing? Oh, look at me. I hate you." The way she did it was so contemptuous. It wasn't just that she punched down, is that she was being cute about punching down. Yeah, Kristen Sinema's the girl boss. She told you guys, didn't she? She's the boss. She told you people what's up. Joe Manchin. All right, so I really like Heather Cox Richardson. She's a professor at a university, and I really like her thoughts. She gives lectures on speeches, talks. I wouldn't call them lectures. They're like talks on Facebook about stuff. And it's super interesting because she's a historian, so she knows stuff. Like it's awesome. It's great. It contextualizes our country when you know its history. And here's what she said about the plan that we just got, that they're going to pass. So according the Senate plan has $1,400, so it's not the $2,000 they promised back in December. Now it's down to $1,400 in May. Okay. They're gonna have federal unemployment benefits of $300 a week until Labor Day, September. And then $350 billion for state and local and tribal governments, and then $130 billion for schools, for rent payments and food. Child tax credit subsidies for child care and food assistance, lowering the cost of under the Affordable Care Act, and rental assistance. So it's going to cut child poverty in half by the end of this year. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. Okay. So when the Republicans had a trifecta, let me see. Hold on. Oh, when the Republicans had a trifecta, when they had control of all three branches of government, what the Republicans did with that awesome power was they passed a tax cut. They passed a tax cut. This is the GOP tax cut, the Donald Trump tax cut. In the 1950s, the top tax rate used to be up here in the 1950s. But Donald Trump and the Republicans, with their trifecta power, lowered the tax rate for the wealthiest top 400 people to the lowest amount ever. It's never been this low for the richest people, and it's never been this high for the poorest people. So the richest people are paying less taxes than everybody else. That's the power of the Republican trifecta. When the Republicans had power, they made sure the rich were taken care of. So, in contrast, when the Democrats have power, they passed a bill that gave a bunch of money to the poorest people. The absolute poorest people, not the richest people, like the Republicans, but the absolute poorest people. And this is how it breaks down. All right, so you got your huge chunk here. That's the $1,400 checks. Then you got your aid to state and local governments. Then that's your unemployment. That's your tax credits. That's to help schools reopen. That's for vaccinations. That's small businesses and farmers. That's FEMA disaster. I don't know what this other is. That's renters and homeowners so they don't get evicted. That's restaurants and bars, and that's veterans. So that's the plan. That's the plan there. That's what's going through. That's where all the money's going. So the only one I'm about, like, oh, what's this about? But that's like a small chunk of the pie, really. So Republicans do this when they have power. When they have power, they make sure that the poorest people pay the most and the richest people pay the least. That's the power that the Republicans use when they have it. But when Democrats have power, this is what they do. They give $1,400 checks to the poorest people. They help out the poorest people. So if you want to tell me that both parties are the same, if that's what you want to tell me, both parties are the same, you have to tell me, you have to show me how cutting taxes for the richest people is the same thing as giving money to the poorest people. You can't, because they're not the same thing. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb people in the Democratic Party. I'll give you that. And yeah, I would love for there to be multiple parties in our system if it allowed it. But because we have a first past the post system, we can't have more than two parties. That's why I keep talking about doing the instant runoff voting. Because if we have instant runoff voting, like, okay, Nancy Pelosi said something really, really stupid the other day. She said she really wants there to be a strong Republican Party. Why would she say that she wants a strong Nazi party? Republicans are Nazi. What would cause Nancy Pelosi to say she wants a strong Nazi party? That seems stupid. That's like the dumbest thing ever. Oh yeah, the party that wants to murder me, I hope they're strong. What? Are you what? What? Ah! That's because it's a reflection of our broken government system. This first past the post system is totally stupid. It's totally stupid because it defaults to two parties. You can only have two parties under this system. And when you can only have two parties, you get your Speaker of the House saying stupid things like, I wish there were a strong Nazi party. Ah! No, Nancy Pelosi. What you want to say is, I wish there were a strong progressive party. Because that's who really is your partner. The Nazis aren't your partner. The Nazis don't want to work with you. The Nazis want to kill you. They want to kill you. All those Republicans on the other side of the aisle, they want you dead. If you could call the vote saying, do you want to kill all Democratic senators and Congress people? All the Republicans would vote yes on that. Yes, yes. They all want you dead. So you don't want a strong Nazi party. It's the exact opposite of what you want. What you want is a strong progressive party. But because of the nature of our system, you can't really get that, can you? So how do you fix that? How do you get a strong progressive party to govern with you? As opposed to a strong Nazi party who wants to murder you. How do you get there? Well, the way you do it is you introduce instant runoff voting. That way, instead of just choosing one person out of a field of many, you can rank them. That way, I can vote for Bernie Sanders without spoiling Hillary Clinton. That way, I can vote for who's that guy in Florida? Oh man, I can't remember his name, but Al Gore. Ralph Nader. That way I can vote for Ralph Nader without spoiling it for Al Gore. Even though Al Gore didn't lose the vote, or he didn't lose, he got that election was stolen. The same way they tried to steal it, yeah, it was stolen. Like, yeah, they stole Al Gore's presidency. It was a coup. It was a coup then. I'm hearing it was a coup for the John Kerry election too. They messed with the votes in 2004 in Ohio. So it's been a coup all the way through. Every time Republicans have taken power. So, yeah, I would love for there to be a strong progressive party. I do not want there to be a strong Nazi party. And the fact that Nancy Pelosi said she wants a strong Nazi party makes me kind of crazy. Like, so what did the Republicans say? Because, you know, here's the relief by country as of December 21st. So this is before the $1,400 check. So far, America is in the middle here. Japan is doing awesome. It's like taking care of its people. Slovenia, I don't even know who Slovenia is. That's awesome. They're doing great. Sweden, Finland, Germany, yeah, like. What's this next one? 3. The unemployment rate was closer to 10%, not 6.3%. So we are hurting. We really, really, really need this relief. We are hurting bad. And so if you look at this chart here at other countries, you'll see that the United States is in red, right? And right now, it looks like it's at January 2021, it looks like it's at 6.whatever%, but no, that guy said it's closer to up here to 10. It's the highest of all of them. It's higher than everyone else. See 10 right here? He said it's closer to 10. Fed chair, unemployment rate was closer to 10%, not 6.3%. So this chart is incorrect. Our thing should be up here. Why is it so much higher? Why is it so much higher than everyone else? You have Italy, the United Kingdom, France, Canada, Japan, Germany. Why is it higher than everyone else? Because we give the least amount of money to our people. So France, Germany, Japan, like Canada, their unemployment was all lower than ours. They all had better unemployment than we did, but we gave, like, we're pretty stingy with our aid to our people. So let's look at the Republican arguments against the bill. So the Republicans are saying that the bill is too expensive, right? Their tax cut gave $1.3 trillion to the richest people. It let $83 billion to the richest people, right? The death tax, you know, the tax that says, like, the things that you own over $10 million, you know, all those poor people were really, really upset that the death tax would take money away from really, 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 really rich people. I don't know why. So Republicans want to say that the bill is too expensive, but they already gave away money to the rich. So that's not real. That's not real. They already did worse. It's not real. They already did worse. And then they say it's a partisan bill. It's not a real bill. That's why 0 Republicans voted for it. No Republicans voted for it. But 60% of Republicans support the bill. They want a bill. So that means they have 0 representation. Republican voters have 0 representation in the Senate right now because yeah, 60% of the senators of Republicans support it. So you would think 60% of Republican senators would vote for it, but 0%. So Republican voters aren't really getting represented in the Senate. And then they say it's not a COVID relief bill. Well, the Donald Trump Act and the American Rescue Plan, they both have stimulus checks, They both have unemployment, They both have vaccine and testing, Both had small business, They both had state and local funding, They both had rent and mortgage relief, So if this is not a COVID relief bill, then Donald Trump didn't pass a COVID relief bill either. That means no one passed a COVID relief bill. Oh man, that's terrible. You see how like silly those arguments are? But remember, when Trump was president, every Democrat voted for the $2 trillion CARES Act, even though doing so helped Trump. When Biden is president, 0 Republicans voted for the $1.9 trillion American Relief Plan, because hurting Biden is more important than helping Americans. Because they're Nazis. Do you see? They're Nazis. Republicans are Nazis. And Joe Manchin wants to work with these Nazis. And like, okay, and I know I've been criticized. They're saying, why are you calling them Nazis? Because that's what they are. Like, I am trying to trigger inside of you a connection. Because they're the same thing. It's the same thing. They are no different. This is coming up. Fascist free 503. Fascist free 503. Hate has no home here. Salem Capitol, March 28th, 2021. Be there. Raw. Everybody. You know, if a country has so many people in prison that allowing them to vote could swing an election, maybe there are too many people in prison. You guys are dangerously close to realizing specifically. Oh, I'm gonna die. Hold on. You guys are dangerously close to realizing specifically what kind of people they keep from voting and why. Socialists. We want more democracy. Democracy at work. Democracy in politics. Democracy over resources. And democracy over the media. Capitalists, for some reason. This is a threat to democracy. Oh, yeah, dude. So, Georgia is trying to stop people from voting, right? And they make it as a crime now because Georgia, they close a lot of their polling stations and they close the early voting. So you only have one poll to go to. So the line is like 7 hours long, right? You're in line for 7 hours. So Georgia made it a crime to give people food and water who are waiting in line to vote because Georgia, the government of Georgia doesn't want people to vote because the people who control the Georgia government are Nazis. How many times do I have to say it? How many times do I have to tell you? How many times do I have to say it? How many times do I have to express it? They're Nazis. They're Nazis. Like, what do you think would compel me to do this stupid show for 5 years, or not for 5 years, but for five seasons? Because I'm fighting Nazis. I'm shining a light on Nazis. And Nazis are the mortal enemy of the United States. And there are Nazis in government. And people don't realize it, or they're not acting as if they are Nazis. They're acting as if they're just mistaken humans when they're Nazis. The filibuster was once the primary tool used to block legislation that would protect voting rights, such as a proposed law banning the poll tax. In the 87 years between the end of the Reconstruction and 1964, the only bills that were stopped by the filibusters were civil rights bills, Gentleson writes in his book. Abolishing the filibuster to pass House Resolution 1 would be poetic justice, he says. You would be ending the filibuster on an issue of civil rights. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act to stop governments like Georgia from taking away the rights of Americans to vote. The filibuster that Joe Manchin wants to protect will block the John Lewis Voting Rights Act because it's a racist tool. Joe Manchin wants to protect a racist tool. Kristen Sinema wants to protect a racist tool. They want to work with the Nazis. It just blows my mind. Like, Kristen Sinema just got elected, and we find out that she's a Nazi. Like, oh my God, that just kills me. Oh, okay. Real quick clarification. Megan Marie Stevens. I saw court documents. She got special permission to go to that meeting. That protest. So yeah, she got literal permission from the court to go to that. Nope, hold on. I'm looking for that one. No, not this one. Not this one. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I should cut this part out. Okay, never mind. Anyways, she's a bad person. She pepper sprayed some reporter guy when he was on the ground. She just went up to him and like sprayed him, maced him down. That's why she's in trouble with the law, because she's a Nazi. And she attacked someone. So, like, yeah, she might have gotten special court permission to be there, but doesn't mean she's not a Nazi. She's still a Nazi. So remember this, be there. Suppressing Black Votes, a historical case study of voting restrictions in Louisiana. Southern states have used a variety. I'm going to get out of here because I'm getting attacked by these slimes. Okay, Southern states have used a variety of methods to disenfranchise African American voters. Empirical data on the effectiveness of these measures is rare. We present a unique data source from Louisiana that allows us to empirically document voter registration rates from the end of Reconstruction to the present. Using basic time series data, we document how voter registration rates changed over time in response to state restrictions. We then conduct a second analysis, which focuses on Louisiana's use of the Understanding Clause to reduce voter registration among blacks. We show that in parishes that use the Understanding Clause, black registration rates dropped by nearly 30 percentage points, with little effect on the white registration. The findings of this paper have important implications for understanding the potential for discrimination in enforcement of modern, ostensibly non-racial voter eligibility requirements, such as voter ID, which grants substantial discretion to local officials in determining voter eligibility. So voting rights have been restricted by Confederate states for a long time. So look over here, right? This chart is proportion of African American and white voters registered to vote from 1878 to 2010, with key historical periods noted. So 1878, like end of the Civil War, blacks get the right to vote. You had like 100% voter registration of black people. Every black person wanted to vote. So Louisiana instituted the grandfather clause, which said that if your grandfather couldn't vote, that means you couldn't vote either. So that's since everyone all the black people who were voting were newly freed slaves, none of them had grandfathers who could vote. So it dropped to nothing. As soon as they won their freedom, it was taken away from them. Do you see? Look how long they had no freedom. Till 1944, the end of the Second War. And then it started coming back up, right? But they still try to stop them. They still try to stop you. They still try to stop you. And then the civil rights movement started coming up. And the civil rights movement. This is what really got us coming up. And now we're coming back up to the top again, and all these southern states are trying to push it back down, right? Because they're Nazis. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Like how, like my mom has a neighbor. She loves to go walking with his neighbor, like his neighbors. She doesn't have very many friends because she lives in northern Nevada. What's she gonna do? She's surrounded by Nazis. Her neighbor's a Nazi. And she goes on long walks with her Nazi neighbor. And of course they don't talk about politics, but that's BS because of course the Nazi neighbor is going to drop little references here and there, right? We have fundamentally different values, right? White supremacy and American values are fundamentally different. So my mom is walking with this white supremacist, getting fed this white supremacy in her mind, and because she's a boomer, she doesn't have like all the tools to combat propaganda that the younger people do because we grew up with it. So she easily gets manipulated by this stuff, by hearing her peers talk about it. So yeah, like she goes on these long walks and like nothing I can do about it. Right? It's her neighbor. It's like her only friend really to go walking with. I'm glad she's walking. She's out walking, right? That's a good thing. Being active, that's good. I'm sorry she has to hang out with a Nazi neighbor, a Trump-supporting neighbor. Because every time we talk, I hear another little thing that she picked up from her neighbor. Remember when I even talked about, like, when I said, she's like, oh yeah, I don't like Democrats. They're all corrupt. But she couldn't say why or who or what or where. That's her neighbor talking. That was her neighbor. That's her Trump neighbor on her long walks, poisoning her mind, my mom's mind. Yep, that's what happens. Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, the whole ghost hacking. My mom believed fully that Democrats were corrupt and that they changed from before. But she couldn't say who, what, when, where, why. She had no anything. But she would act on her feeling. If she had to vote, she would vote not vote for the Democrat based on her feeling, even though she couldn't pinpoint why. And when I tried to get her to pinpoint exactly, she got angry at me. Yeah, white supremacy is a hell of a drug. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Nazis, white supremacists. I mean, Nazis, white supremacists, Confederates, all the same thing. Yeah, I improved my farm here. Oop. I improved it. I worked out the bumpers a little bit better. It's better to see it this way. So they don't get stuck on the they don't get stuck nearly as much. So it's just like a wave of just pigmen just coming down. Ha 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 ha! They don't get stuck there anymore. At least they're not supposed to. Let me see. Sometimes they fall all the way through. What are you going to do? If they fall all the way through and they die. Oh well. Oh well. I'm so sad. Oh, the poor piggies died. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. This is bad. Let me think, how can I do this? Can I Oh, there we go. I got out. Yeah, I didn't want to be in there. They would have murdered me. You put us in here. Yes, yes, it was me who put you there. That's right, I put you here. You shall be purified. See, you take the rotten flesh, a little bit more. You're coming to the priest, Joe. Yeah, what's up, priest? I will trade you rotten flesh for money. Stomp Nazis for money. All right, I will do it. Okay, America. We are at a crazy point in our history. Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. Things are going down. You got to stay vigilant. And remember, be there. Be there. Stomp Nazis. All right, pogokero out. Peace.